What I find baffling is that you see individuals with very high incomes. They're doctors, dentists, lawyers, but they're left with very little after their paycheck. They don't have much in savings. And then you see some guys who make minimum wage or slightly higher than minimum wage, and they could have the same net after spending as these higher income individuals. But I've actually seen people that don't make a lot of money and seem to retire early. So it's very interesting to me because society teaches us get a high paying job, make a lot of money, and you're set. But you're seeing a lot of people who aren't set. If you look at a guy in a mansion where you see a giant house, someone wearing Coach, Versace, Dolce & Gabbana, you're going to assume a baller, right? He has no financial problems. But I'm seeing a trend where a lot of guys who appear rich on the outside are really broke. They're in a lot of debt. They have no savings. They're living paycheck to paycheck, regardless of having such a high income. What's your theory on that? I want to pick your brain.
I think for a lot of people, they look at it and say, I want to keep up with the Joneses. We watch a lot of reality TV, and that's taken over to suggest that I have to look XYZ, but I only might be making ABC. So I look at it and say, with a lot of people, they're not, I'll give you an example. Let's say we know of someone who's a highly specialized doctor, and by the time he was 30, married, successful, he married a lawyer himself, making great money, but his habits got into drugs. And this is someone who's very focused at that stage of his life early on to become the specialist doctor that he was, spending the money, wanting to live, keeping up with the Joneses, thinking, well, now it's my turn to show who I am. Then you might have someone at the same time who might be driving a city bus for a living, but this person looks at it and says, you know what, I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. I'm making, let's just say, $75,000, $65,000 to $75,000 a year, and I'm going to be spending X amount of money and saving X amount of money every month. You fast forward 20 years on the same person, and people will say 20 years is a long timeline. I've learned in my life 20 years goes by just like this. Mm-hmm. It takes no time for time to fly. Mm-hmm. And you got the same person, same two people, the bus driver and the doctor, and there'll be at similar points. They might live in different economic neighborhoods. I'll give that to you. How much is debt and how much is paid off? A lot of this comes down to what are your long-term habits and who are you trying to impress? Mm-hmm. We're going to get into habits in a later video, but it comes down to who do you think you are? What goes on in your mind that says I have to spend compared to I might want to save? That's how I look at this topic.
And you're right, too. A lot of people will spend to one-up their so-called friends or relatives. Yep. And I've heard of families buying the newest Mercedes because the brother just bought a new Range Rover. We have to look rich.
Long-term, nobody cares.
Long-term, no one gives a crap. They're not paying your mortgage. They're not sleeping with you. They're not buying your groceries. Why are we trying so hard to impress random people?
I'll tell you from my life experience, I know people from different economic ranges, whether you're low income, high income, and anything in between. When people can always tell when someone, no matter what their situation is, they're internally content. Mm-hmm. I've seen the jealousy that people hold towards those who are peace of mind up here. Mm-hmm. You can identify someone who's posing and someone legitimately, you're earning the money. I'm happy you're doing well. Mm-hmm. You talk to someone long enough where they're always flexing over, I have this item or that item. The truth starts to come out that it's a inferiority complex. Let's just leave it at that. Mm-hmm. But then you'll always meet that one person or handful of people, no matter what they are economically, they're just mentally content. Mm-hmm. Regardless of economic range, people will always say, that's what I want to be like. I want them in my circle. Mm-hmm. Their energy is calm. They might be doing good or they might be doing bad. It doesn't even come into your mind. Yeah. So who are you really trying to impress? And we've been hearing this. Every generation seems to have their own take on it. Mm-hmm. These cliches are true.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Remember, whether you're making 300K or 80K, what you do with that money counts. And ask yourself this question. Who are you really trying to impress? You'll be in the grave alone. I'm pretty sure your buddies aren't paying your house off. And if they are, those are some really good friends. You guys should introduce us to them. Reconsider. Where's your money going and why? Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.